What is up, beautiful people of YouTube? It is P from PTV back again with another formation review. This time, we're reviewing the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. Now, a lot of you might not know yet, but there has been a patch release that has made some less relevant formations more relevant now. This one in particular has gotten what seems to be a buff or a boost, right? I want to talk to you a little bit about how I run this. Now, I've been running this for 2.5 to 3 FIFAs now. I like to think I know what I'm talking about. Let me show you the team real quick. I know what you're thinking. 4-5-1, that's not what we're talking about. No. This is just to get us chemistry real quick. But if you look over, if we slide over to our custom tactics, we can start running down some of the stuff that you'll need to know for you to emulate or run my version of the 4-1-2-1-2. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is our defense. And the first thing you'll notice is pressure on heavy touch. You don't have to run this. It's sort of situational, but it's something that I like to start out in. Right, you can have several different custom tactics tabs where maybe you have the same tactics, but you're just turning this one off. Maybe you're switching it over to balanced or whatever the case is. This is what I like to come out in, though. What this does, pressure on heavy touch, it allows you to blitz your opponent every time one of his players takes a heavy touch, moves backwards, or whatever the case is. Let's say, like I said, let's say a player dribbles backwards, right? Just like the diagram right here, our players are going to blitz that person. Let's say somebody does a right bumper A pass to a player whose dribbling isn't very high. You're going to see like a big bounce off that player's foot. Our players are going to try to take advantage of that. We're going to blitz them, and we're going to try to get the turnover on our opponent's third of the pitch and try to create easy opportunities for ourselves. So that's something, it's sort of subjective, but I definitely think at some point you should run this in this formation. It's very, very good, and it'll give you lots of opportunities, like I said. Now, width, we're going to leave this at balanced because it is such a narrow formation. If you don't leave it at balance and if you tick this down 1 or 2, then you're going to be in trouble up against the sidelines, and you're really going to isolate your fullbacks, especially if you like to get them forward, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Depth, you can run this at 3 or 4. I like to run it at 3 just to make sure we're not so susceptible to counterattacks, since I do occasionally like to get my fullbacks forward. Offensive style, I like to leave this on balance. Now, a lot of people will try to make a case for long ball or for fast buildup, and you know what? That's just fine. But at the higher levels of like maybe foot champs, once you get that elo sort of going up a little bit, ticked up a little bit, you'll notice that if I put this on long ball or if I put this on fast buildup, and I'm struggling to get the ball maybe from my back line to my midfielders, all of my players will start running and making runs and pushing my opponent's back line. That goes for my CMs, that goes for my cam, both of my strikers. They'll push up there, and then it leaves this humongous gap between back line, the CDM, and then everybody pushing the back line, so I have no one to bring the ball to. Balanced seems to give us the best, it seems to give us the best sort of balance between making the runs and finding an outlet. See, there's always somewhere to go, but you always also have an attacking option to try to get through. Now, your width, again, is going to remain at 5. I've seen people play this at 4, only because it is such a narrow formation. You want to be able to quickly move the ball around, very tiki-taka style. No one should be holding the ball or taking too many dribbles, especially, in the middle of the pitch. Players in the box. Now, I'll tell you what, I have heard that they have fixed crossing, especially the near post crossings, and I'm hearing that a lot of people are winning headers now. I don't trust it because it's not gameplay that I've experienced, so I still leave this on 4, corners on 2, and free kicks on 2. I'm just, until I see something that's going to convince me, hey, like I can go ahead and get some big players in here that'll win some headers, I'm not going to make moves until I can confirm that 100%, and I won't tell you to do that until I can confirm it 100%. Okay, let's go right here, formation. Here's what we're playing, everybody. Right, Son and Salah will be up on the strikers, and here's just a side note, right? It's not necessarily for the formation, but if you do run 2 striker formations, you'll want to make sure that Salah, for example, as a left-footed striker, has got his left foot facing the inside of the field. That way, if we do get him the ball, he can take a quick touch towards the inside, and he's got the entire goal right in front of him to try to take a touch, whether that's the back post or the front post. He can do whatever. You don't want him to be You don't want him to be on the left side. It kind of limits the areas of the goal that he can shoot, for example. So I put Salah on the left where he's left-footed, and Son, it doesn't really matter because he obviously has that 5-star weak foot. Bernardo Silva, player moments at cam. If you don't, listen, honestly, I'm going to link my Bernardo Silva player moments review somewhere in here. If you haven't seen it, go see it, man. This player is outrageously good. You'll notice that we've got this Acuna right here who is listed at left mid. He's going to play CM for us, and I will show you why here in a little bit. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Sissoko is going to come in and play the right CM. Both Acuna and Sissoko are high work rates. I think that's the most important part of this for the most part. Your CMs and your CDM. I like to have my CMs as high work rates so they can get up and down the pitch, support the CDMs, and support the cams and the strikers. Conte, the lone CDM, you need to make sure he's on medium attacking work rate and a high defensive work rate, right? The backline is what it is. Let's go to the instructions. Son and Salah are going to come in at the same. They want to make sure they are getting in behind, and they want to make sure they are staying forward, okay? I'm doing this with you just to make sure that you guys are seeing me change everything, and it's not just a quick kind of run through. Get in behind and stay forward for the strikers. I know a lot of people are wanting them to come back on defense. Not me. You'll see why here when we switch over to Bernardo Silva. We want him to also stay forward, but we're going to do something different. Now, this is kind of particular to Bernardo, so if you can find a player whose stamina is very high, and I'm talking like 85, 90 plus stamina. This player has 99 stamina. He's going to stay on the edge of the box, which is also very important. And we're going to put him on free roam. Because Bernardo Silva has high work rates and 99 stamina, but we have him listed at stay forward, he is going to sort of come down and help a little bit, sort of like on the shallow end of the defense. He's going to come down and help a little bit, but he's also going to have the ability to free roam over the top of the defense anywhere he'd like, sideline to sideline, just to be that sort of outlet pass for when we do win the ball back. The person that we are looking to find is Bernardo, and I've noticed that with free roam on, he does tend to find the spots where he needs to be so we can play the strikers in through him or play a build up through the cam, which is what you want, right? So that's how we run him. Switching to Acuna and Sissoko, these are both identical. You want them on balanced, that high work rate. We don't want to touch a thing. We want to make sure they are getting forward and they are getting back, right? Super important. Get into the box, I've noticed, just makes sure that when they do get forward, they don't push into the box so they're not way out of position when your opponent does win the ball back or you lose the ball or whatever the case is. They're not so far out of position that their track back takes too long. Stay on the edge of the box seems to just be the way to go to make sure that they have less room to cover, less ground to cover, if you will. We want them on cover center, and I know that stay back while attacking, of course. I forgot that one. And I know the temptation will be to have them do aggressive interceptions. I'm going to go with no on this one. I'm going to go with no. I've noticed that aggressive interceptions not only drain stamina, which these guys are going to need for tracking back and getting forward. They're working the hardest amongst the team. But it also, if you miss your interception, it's going to pull you way out of position and you're going to regret actually going for the interception. So we leave these on normal, and that's going to look the same for both players here. I'm going to make sure we cover center. Bang, right here. Conte, the lone CDM, right? We want to leave that at balance for the same reason. First, defensive behaviors, right? We don't like cutting passing lanes. We don't like man mark. We like balanced. Stay back while attacking. We're going to leave the interceptions alone, and he definitely needs to be in the center between PK and Varane. Now, here's something. This is going to kind of make or break the formation for you. We've got our fullbacks here, Roberto Carlos and Nelson Semedo. Now, they're two very different fullbacks. Nelson Semedo being the person that I like to leave on balanced because I do note that his work rates are a medium attacking and a high defensive. So if you leave him at balanced, his work rates sort of just kind of take over, and he doesn't get too far forward without you calling him forward. Now, I leave him on balance, but when I do call him forward, I'll look at him left bumper. He'll start making his run. I like to make sure that he overlaps and he doesn't do any sort of inverted runs, because the overlaps allow him to kind of hug the sideline, while the inverted ones make him sort of get central, and then he gets kind of like lost in the sauce and you don't know where he is, making it difficult for him to track back. I put Roberto Carlos on stay back while attacking to sort of combat his work rates, which are high attacking and medium defensive. Stay back while attacking sort of just kind of soothes him from just like always pressing the back line. I noticed on balance, he just flies forward constantly. And we talked about how that can be really difficult in build-up play, for example. If I'm looking to get him the ball and he's just kind of sitting next to their right back, like it's not helpful, right? So stay back while attacking on him, and we want to make sure also that he is overlapping when we do call him to make a run. Now, I do use my fullbacks, right? Now, I don't like to have several 4-1-2-1-2 formations because I like to have like a plethora of different options to go to. So instead of leaving them or having a 4-1-2 tab, that is where the fullbacks would be flying forward, and obviously we would be more offensive that way. Instead of doing that, I just manually call them forward if I need them. You know, if you're not comfortable doing that, if you're not comfortable thinking like, hey, I don't want to. I want less things to worry about. Then of course you can make a tab. But for me, left bumper, pointing at them to make a run is just sort of what I do, and that's sort of like in the middle of the game I can just do it, or I can if their default stay back. It just sort of depends on how the game is going, and it kind of keeps my opponent on his toes there. So, all right, guys. So I thought it would be. I thought it would be a good time if I actually put a 4-1-2-1-2 concept squad together just to show you, like, if I had all the coins in the world, if I wasn't operating on an RTG, which you guys can see on stream, make sure to drop the stream link down below. This is what I would do if I had unlimited coins. Okay, so like, we could start from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom and have a little bit of fun with it, man. Prime Van der Sar in net, absolute beast mode, right? We got Team of the Year Trent right next to Rio for that strong English link. Over here, we've got 99 Team of the Year, Virgil van Dijk, arguably one of the best center backs in any FIFA ever in history, right? Like, look at this card. Look at this. How much fun would that be? You throw a shadow on this bad boy, it is over. Gee whiz, man. 94 overall, Team of the Year, Robertson over to his left. Nothing to write home about, but he is the best left back in the game at the moment. Now, we look at this card, man. Look at this CDM content. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one because you guys are going to be like, where's Prime Varane? And I'm like, Prime Varane is one thing, right? But this card right here, every time I face this card, he just scurries about like a little crackhead and he just intercepts everything, man. He's got unlimited energy and he just flies around. Dude, he's the biggest pest to play against. And then we've got Prime Zidane and Prime Hullet. Like, you already knew. You already knew what was happening right here, right? Prime Zidane linked with Prime Hullet left and right. We've got Pele sitting there at cam. What a stud, man. 4-star, 5-star. Should be 5-star, 5-star in my opinion. Speaking of 5-star, 5-star, Prime R9 up top, man. And I mean, does it get better than this right here? R9, Team of the Year, Mbappe. There you have it, boys. I just wanted to have a little fun with you guys and play pretend for a second. If you guys have any of these players, consider yourself lucky. If you can afford all of them, man, go get it and go beast and feast with this formation, man. Listen up. Hey, thank you guys so much for clicking on the video, man. It means the world to me. Please make sure to drop a like. Make sure to drop a sub. Make sure to hit the notification bell if you're new. That way you get alerted anytime we do like a player review or formation review, man. All right, guys, that's it for me, man. Just remember to always put God first. Hold your loved ones super tight. Always say I love you when they walk out of the door because you're not always guaranteed to see them again, man. That said, love you guys. I'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.